Hello, everyone. Today on the Fireside podcast, we're joined by Nick Stoehr, past Ironman race director and owner and race director behind Trisport Event Inc. So Nick and his team are responsible for Ironman Muskoka, the Subaru Triathlon Series, so all those really popular triathlon events that you love to go to and sell out over the summer. Nick and his team are the driving force behind. So thanks so much, Nick, for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
No, it's great to have you on. And as you can tell, I did the race last summer and we met in passing, but it was a very cool event. And it's such a great place. It was my first triathlon, but it's a very great place to do a triathlon, very scenic. And the community all comes out to support, which is a really cool thing as you're struggling up those hills on the end of the road when you're doing the run portion and everyone's cheering you on with the kettlebell. That's it helps push you helps you push you a little bit forward, which is good. Yeah.
No, that's great. We were glad to get you across the finish line last year. It was a great day.
Thank
We
you.
had spectacular weather, and glad you had a great experience.
Was fantastic. No, it's so much fun. So this being a cottage focused podcast, do you have any sort of cottage things that you like to do over the summer? Do you get out on a paddleboard, canoe, kayak, anything like that?
So, as you mentioned, we put on the Subaru Triathlon Series, a women's race here in Grimsby. So I'm located in Grimsby, so I don't live in Huntsville, which is about 3 hours away. So we are pretty much at events almost every weekend. So I don't get a lot of cottage time in.
Yep.
But when there is some downtime, some paddleboarding, there's some biking and that kind of stuff. So I wish I could go to the cottage more. My off season's more of the winter time. So I spend it in hockey rinks and on the ski hill.
Yeah, on the trainer. Exactly. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're a busy fellow. And yeah, there's always something going on, which it makes for a very busy summer for you, but a very enjoyable summer for triathletes all across the country that are drawn into the events. Yeah, you've got, it looks like it's going to be a beautiful summer and the weather's been pretty good so far. I've been out on the bike quite a bit, but no,
We're
it's been
waiting
nice.
for some warmer weather to get the water a little bit warmer, but we're getting there. Our first triathlon is in 4 weeks, so we're hoping it gets even warmer.
Yeah, you gotta get the water a little bit a smidge warmer. There's no temperature down on that one. When it comes down to your background, like how did you first get into race directing? What was that process?
So actually, I started as a summer student for the Subaru Triathlon Series. So Mitch Fraser and Janet Fraser owned the Subaru Triathlon Series, and then for years, and it was started by his brother Graham Fraser. So local Grimsby guys played hockey with them. So summer student started, putting out cones as a weekend warrior, we call him, and then kind of grew into it. Mitch expanded. Then they started the 70.3, brought me along, and I've been here ever since. So, yeah, and then in 2016, we ended up buying the event series, including Muskoka and myself and Dave Music. So yeah, we put on these events, and it's exciting. It's a different kind of job. Everybody kind of says, is that your full-time job? That's the question I get a lot. And it is. We put on 8 events, and then we also offer some support to other events too, some equipment and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a little quieter in the winter, but we're gearing up right now for a busy summer.
Yeah, no, well, I just want to say thank you because I know that the 70.3 in Muskoka is the longest standing 70.3 in Canada. And like the support from your team, these events wouldn't be possible. And I know it's like the perfect challenge for everyone is to get out there and to complete a 70.3, and having one right in your backyard for most people in such a beautiful spot is such a nice thing to have access to. So thanks for that. I
Yeah,
really
no, no.
appreciate it.
I mean,
Yeah.
don't thank me. Thank the community. I mean, they've embraced us. We're inching up on 20 years, which is
Wow.
exciting. I mean, we had a little break there with COVID, but the Huntsville community and Muskoka has really embraced triathlon. I mean, there's a long history that they've been there since, the early 90s, which, I would have been just a young kid. So, the Frasers kind of started up there with some local support like Don McCormick and Rich Trenholm and some guys that live up there, and really embraced the event, and it's flourished, and it's like you said, the longest standing race in Canada as a Ironman branded race, and we're proud of that.
Yeah, no, it's super exciting. And the course itself is stunning. Like, I know I've said this a few times, but the swim in Fairy Lake, the bike loop through Lake of Bays, Dwight, Dorset, Baysville, the hilly run, which if you're listening to this podcast and you're prepping for the race, just make sure you get those hill reps in. The course is so uniquely challenging and beautiful. Has that course like shifted over the years or has it stayed the same?
So originally the race from 2008 until 2016 was at Deerhurst Resort. So it was
Mhm.
hosted there. And then in 2017, we brought the event downtown to the Canada Summit Center, kind of worked with the town and council and some local supporters to bring the event more downtown and drive athletes downtown. So the course has changed. We've had numerous different run courses. We've been trying to tweak that course to appease all the runners and also kind of make sure that local traffic and local residents aren't impacted too much. So there's, been some play back and forth with
Yep.
variations of the course. I think we found one. I think this will be year 4 on this current run course. We would flatten out the course a little bit, but that's almost impossible in Huntsville. As you
Yeah.
know, even the bike
Yeah, no,
courses.
it's yeah, like, I don't think you're gonna find a flat roof as much as
No,
you
it's tough.
try, unless you're doing loops of the Summit Center.
Greg, Greg, our announcer, does the athlete briefing. I don't know if you went to the athlete briefing, but
Yeah, I did.
his funny slide is, the only flat part of the course is the swim. So, and he has the zero elevation gain. So that's the easiest part. Well, I'll say the
Yeah.
easiest part, but it's the non-hilly part.
Oh my goodness. You wanna hear a funny story? Oh, when I did the race, I got to the start line and like everyone, I was wearing track pants and put on the wetsuit and got in line. And I remember, forget if it was the left foot or the right foot, but you had to put your like race tracker on one of your feet. And I looked down and they made an announcement. And I don't think it was supposed to be the left foot. And I looked down and the guy in front of me didn't have it on the left foot, he had it on the right. So I went like, hey, your thing's on the wrong foot. And then I looked down at my feet. I didn't have one on.
Oh
And I
no.
went, "Oh, no. I must have, like, put it in the bag when I was getting changed." So, I left the line, ended up, like, just absolute, needle on a haystack odds. Find my wife, find my dog, go through the bag, and I'm like, "Okay, it has to be in here." Go through, search everything, it's not in there, and I go, "Oh, no, I dropped it." Not even thinking about I'm like, the deposit, whatever, I'll deal with that, but I've trained so long for this race. And a guy beside my wife goes, "Don't worry, go to the front of the line. There's gonna be somebody there with a bag. Go talk to them. They'll give you an extra." And if it wasn't for that person, I don't know what I would have done. But I went up, ran barefoot across the train track area there with all the spectators and the gravel. Got to the person at the front, said, "Hey, listen, I lost it." Ended up getting one. And you know what? Funny story, it was in the bag.
Oh, was it? Too funny.
So it was there, but I was too frazzled to find it. But yeah, no, that was that was I got my heart
So
rate up into zone 3 before I even started.
you're not the first athlete to forget their chip or lose their chip. So I mean,
No.
we've seen just about everything. So
Yeah.
we're prepared for situations like that.
Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah. Oh boy. So yeah, no, I guess like your involvement with the community, like there's got to be a lot of different stakeholders and building relationships with the town over the years, volunteers, stuff like that. And I remember when I was up there prior to the race, there's a lot of signage on the roads. Just really, yes, it's letting people know that the race is going on and it's been going on for some time, but just that friendly reminder of being like, hey, there's going to be a little bit more activity on the roads this weekend, a little bit more cyclists, a little bit more runners, just something to be aware of, which is always a good thing to let people know about.
A big piece of our event planning for all of our events is trying to let the community know. We want to make sure that our athletes are safe out there, and we want to make sure that the local residents are know something's going on. I mean, as much as we
Mhm.
can say, hey, this happens every year, it is cottage country. There's people renting cottages that might have no idea, so we do mail out residence notices, like you said, signage. We work with council, things like podcasts and
Yep.
radio ads, and working with locals and such, just making sure that everybody's aware of it and everybody has a great day, not just the spectators and the athletes, but also the local residents.
Just keeping everyone on the same page. And you do a fantastic job of it and just making sure that, like you said, it's a busy day out there and just making sure that everyone's all in the same loop is super duper important. So I guess leading up to the race week and, so you get there, check in, people are arriving to the event, maybe it's their first triathlon, maybe it's their 50th triathlon. You get in, you check in, really cool process on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But what does that look like for you? Because I know what it looks like for the athlete, but as a race director, that has to be, there's a lot of moving pieces in that puzzle.
So I have an Apple Watch, and my step count at the end of the day is usually up 40, 50,000 steps a day. So we put in a lot of miles. There's a lot of coming and going. I mean, we arrive usually on the Wednesday before the event. So, like I said, we're based in Niagara, so we're loading trucks the week before, and then Wednesday usually we drive up, kind of get situated, and then Thursday we hit the ground running. And we have multiple things going on. We're taking over the parking lot for transition. We're loading into the arena, getting ready for registration. We're building out finish lines. So we'll have probably 25, 30 staff working. So, I'm constantly kind of going here and getting pulled here and there. And then volunteer captains are showing up. And so there's lots of stuff going on. So it's really a juggling act. But we have such a great team that it's kind of, everybody kind of knows what they do. And, we have a good plan when we hit the ground, and kind of, I want to say, it takes care of itself, but you have lots of things going on, and it's exciting. It's an exciting week. I mean, there's a lot leading up to it, and once the athletes starting arriving, then you can feel the excitement in the air. So it's a fun week. It's exhausting. I always say Monday is probably one of my favorite days of the year because once we close the doors on the trucks and they're unloaded, it's kind of like, oh,
Yep.
okay, relief. Everything went
Yep.
well. Everybody had a great day, but it's very rewarding at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine. I'm trying to compare it to planning a wedding, but this to me feels a lot more it's a lot more stressful, to be honest.
Yeah, 1,500 people on bikes in a wedding.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah,
Then now listen, that'd be a fun wedding for me,
right there you
but not for everyone. Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And like, it's it sounds like you grew up playing sports and having the right team behind you for an event like this is crucial. And having people you can depend on in different areas as you're bouncing between them has to be a super important crucial step to make sure that everything runs smoothly and all the water stations and aid stations are up. And yeah, no, it's great. And I like just kudos to your team again because the volunteers are always they're great.
Yeah,
They
we
were
could put on
awesome
events.
at the aid stations.
We couldn't put events on without volunteers and the local support. The local
Yeah.
community embraces the event, and it's amazing. We have over probably 450 to 500 unique volunteers throughout the weekend. I mean, I'm managing that piece as well, and it's like making sure they have all the supplies they need, all the information they need. Make sure that they wake up on time, right? I mean, you never know. Some
Yeah.
people could, like there's lots of moving pieces, and yeah, it's exciting. There's no chance we could put on an event without the community support.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess over like when you look at the event progression over the years and looking at how the numbers have grown, I think at one point it was like 876 people, and now this year is it probably close. It's over 1,300.
Yeah, we'll
It's a
have
sold out event.
yeah, it's sold out at over 1,900 athletes plus our relay team, so close
Wow.
to 2,000. So we'll have over 1,500 to 1,600 start on. So this is our biggest version ever this coming year.
Yeah.
There's been there's been an increase in demand, sold out earlier than we ever have. I think there's a few factors. Ironman Ottawa, the full has moved into Ontario, and it's 4 weeks
Mhm.
after us, which is a perfect timeline for people that are training for a full. They can come to a half and kind of get in the zone and kind of
Yep.
get their legs and know what the event's kind of like. Yeah, it has definitely evolved. We used to be in September, which is shoulder season. Once we moved the event to July and moved it downtown, the event kind of skyrocketed again and is kind of taken off and is on that trajectory.
Mhm.
It's been fantastic. I know the July weekend for us is fantastic because people are done, their kids are done school. They can come up, make a family vacation. They can stay for a week, or maybe it's just 2 nights. They can bring spectators and bring loved ones. And it's, we're not fighting with back to school and back to hockey and back to that kind of stuff. And
Yep.
it's more of a destination vacation event as well now. So I think the July date has definitely helped us. And that's been for, 10, 12 years. So yeah, we're super happy with where the event is and where we can take it. So we've always prided ourselves as not the biggest three. I mean, there's some events that are 3,000, 3,500 athletes where we're capping at that 2,000, where we're kind of a smaller boutique athlete focused event. Not that the other ones aren't athlete focused, but we like to do things well, and we're not just trying to explode it into something that's a crowded bike course or a crowded swim course or a crowded run, and where it's just too much. So
Yep.
we're happy with kind of where we're at. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, it's got a very like it's funny to say this for like a pretty long endurance event, but it's got a cozy feel to it.
Yeah, that's
And
kind of what we pride it
yeah.
as. Kind of that hometown feel. Like you've come home, you're racing at
Yeah.
home. You're not in you're not in a big city. You don't feel like you're away from home. I guess that's kind of what we pride ourselves that it's very welcoming is kind of, I guess, the word.
Yeah, well, it's working. The messaging is definitely there. It's definitely something I felt. And I guess when you look at scaling from like to this year when as you ramp up, is there any things that like you notice that change with that ramp up? Like I guess it's an increase in volunteers, stuff like that.
Yeah, not
Forecasting more Gatorade.
we've done it so slowly that we haven't kind of tried to explode it too much, that we kind of understand where we are. But yeah, obviously you have to tweak things. You need more volunteers, you need more porta potties, you need more medals, you need more hats, you need more bags, you need more maybe staff, more everything, finished water, so we've slowly scaled it, trying not to get out of our comfort zone and kind of make it, and we are limited with parking and some logistical issues. So
Yeah.
we're trying to work with the community that we don't want to, like we said, we don't want to burden them too much.
No, no.
We want them to embrace the event. So we don't want to, we want to be present, but we don't want to be disruptive, I guess,
Yeah.
if that's the right word.
That Sounds yeah, no, I'm thinking Taylor Swift played in Toronto over the summer last year, and there was the Swift effect, and they found the number of what Taylor Swift's concert brought into the area, and it was a crazy number. I forget how much it was, but it was a ton of money. But yeah, there has to be within the local community preparation as well, being like, all right, we need more espresso and croissants for this weekend because all these triathlon nerds are coming through and they're gonna want pizza to carbo load and they're gonna want coffee. So there has to be a bit of a spillover there too.
Yeah, the
Uh,
local businesses know we're coming. We work with the BIA and such, and we try to promote. Go downtown, go shop, go eat in the restaurants. They're
yep.
sleeping in hotels, they're renting Airbnbs, they're going to the grocery store. So yeah, there is an economic impact, obviously, and we try to pride ourselves and at putting the event on. We spend a lot of money in the community. We make donations to volunteer groups. We donate back to Tri Muskoka, the
Mhm.
local triathlon club that they do an amazing job for us, and we donate back to them so they can do some initiatives in the community. And yeah, so
Yep.
there's we're happy to be there and happy to work with the town and make sure that everybody's happy and prepared that we're coming.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Two quick call outs I want to make. First one before I forget. If you're listening to this, go ahead and get that hotel room if you haven't already, because hotel rooms are probably filling up fast. So make sure you get one of those.
If not already sold out, I would think that probably.
Yeah, you're probably pretty close.
Yeah, I would think so.
And second call out is for Tri Muskoka. They do a wonderful event, and I went to it last year. The Sunrise Swim for Strength. If you're new to the area or you haven't swam Ferry Lake before, getting out there and familiarizing yourself with the swim course, it's great. You go out there, they've got coffee, they've got pastry, and you get to have it on a floating dock, which is very cool. So yeah, if you're looking for something to do before the race and it's Saturday morning, I'd really highly encourage you to check out that race because it goes to a great cause and like the entry fee, and also it's a very fun time and it
Yeah,
prepares you
it's
well for what's
fantastic. They
going
put
on.
on a great job. Yeah, we'll promote that. And if you are racing, it'll be in the athlete guide. We can find that on the website, and you go to Tri Muskoka's website to register. So I know Rich and his team do a great job with that. So we're happy to support that and push athletes towards that. So yeah, that's a great reminder of, and just getting used to the water temperature,
Yeah.
going in the channel, just getting your wetsuit on and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a great precursor to the event.
Yeah. No, you know what? I needed it because I was used to swimming in crystal clear water. And when I got out there into the murky water, I was like, oh, this is a little different. But being able to kind of like iron out the kinks a little bit before the race and get the reps in, it made a world of a difference.
Yeah, good.
Which was really nice. Yeah. When you look at the success that you're seeing within the race this year, and I guess across all your races, triathlons seem to be something there's a bit of a boom happening and more people are getting into the sport. When you look at that, what do you kind of attribute that to? Is it people seeing this on social media and thinking, I want to challenge myself, or getting inspired through friends, family, stuff like that?
Yeah, we're seeing a shift in younger athletes now. Our biggest age group used to be 40 to 44. We are trending downward, which is amazing, into the
Mhm.
30, 34, even 25 to 29 might be our biggest age group this year at Muskoka. Like I said, we put on the Subaru Triathlon Series, so we have beginner events. We have tries, we have sprints, we have Olympics, and then obviously we have the half. So we try to graduate athletes and kind of get them in and try and just kind of move them up the ladder and whatever their goal is. And so we have an event for anyone from beginner
Mhm.
to a 70.3. I know you said it was your first triathlon at 70.3. Same thing I
Yeah.
did. My first, my first try was a 70.3, and then I did a full, and then I've never done one ever again. so so
Uh,
there is a boom, and I think with the relationship between Canada and the US right now is a little bit, maybe there's a little bit of turmoil. A lot of people are staying home and racing.
mhm.
We're seeing an uptick in locals, and we're getting people knocking on our door nonstop of like, I know it's sold out, but I want to race. I need to race. I waited too long. We apologize to those people that wanted to get in the event. We are sold out, and we just can't take anymore. We would love to.
Yeah.
As mentioned, we want to continue to have that perfectly sized event and not disrupt too many people. So yeah, I think we're in a good spot, and I think the future triathlon's really good right now. It is an expensive sport to get into, so it's not easy. Bikes are expensive, wetsuits are expensive. There's a lot of time and training and such, but we're excited to see the numbers are growing and people are back, and I think that might have been from COVID as well. People couldn't race for a couple of years, and I know we're years removed from that, but I think we're getting that push back from COVID where, hey, I have this goal, and now I can get back to racing and stuff. And yeah, so it's exciting.
Yeah. Oh, and just to go to that point that you said before about the price and all that kind of stuff, there are ways to do it on the cheaper end. I got my bike through Decathlon, which I found a couple of years back, and there was a company based out of Toronto. They're called Endurosport, and they rent out wetsuits. And I was like, you know what? Let's try before you buy. I might hate the triathlon scene. I might as well. I really love cycling and running, but just being able to rent a wetsuit and get out there, and you don't need you don't need a $10,000 aero bike to do a half Ironman. You
Yep.
can accomplish a lot with what you have and do with what you have with what you can, or whatever the saying is. And really just with determination and grit, you can get through it. Of course, you're probably going to increase your wattage and shave some time off if you have a more expensive air bike, but you can still cross the finish line on maybe the more budget friendly equipment, which is something that I think a lot of people are discovering and, leading them to get out and get on the bike and get out on the run and get out there on race day.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, it's like you said, yeah, you can find ways, and sometimes athletes, people like myself that have one and done, and then I might have a bike for sale, or there's ways to
Yeah.
find it. You know what I mean, so it's there is definitely ways to get into it, and yeah, we're welcoming anyone to just come try one of our
Yeah.
smaller races.
That's
Check out
it.
trisportcanada.com, and there's we have races in Milton, Guelph, Grimsby, Owen Sound, so there's races all around the province that just give it a try, and then maybe 2027 is your goal for a half or something like that. So I mean, yeah, any distance is great, right? Just get outside
Oh
and
yeah.
get outside.
Yeah. No, no, no. And that's the thing is it seems like this massive endeavor. And you know what? It is the amount of Googling I did on transitions and all this stuff, and I didn't know how many bags that you had to have because I was reading the rules initially for a full. It seems like a lot, but once you get through it and once you understand how everything jives, you're in the slot. You're ready to go, and it's a lot less intimidating than initially thought. So you've been in the business for quite some time. What keeps you motivated and driven after being in the triathlon community for such a long period of time and in organizing these large events?
Yeah, it's exciting. Like I said, seeing people cross the finish line and seeing them reach their goals is amazing. And like I said, we have kind of a bit of a downtime in the winter, and in the spring, we start ramping up. So it's kind of like, we're kind of reborn, and we're kind of like, we get fired up again. Once the sun comes out, and it's like, okay, this is exciting. Yeah, we've been doing it a long time. And, my kids are getting a little bit older. My son, let them work for me in the summers, dragging them out the door at, 3 a.m. to go to a race, then they're not so excited about it. But, once they get there, they love it. And, we have, like I said, we have a great team. We love getting, and we laugh and we joke and we have fun while we're doing it. We're not splitting atoms or anything. We're putting on events, and,
Yeah.
it's exciting, right? I mean, it's fun. It's kind of, when you're in the moment, it's anything can happen on race day, and you gotta be prepared for it. So you kind of like that thrill of, there's problem solving, that there's things that are going on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know. And
Yeah.
it's an exciting gig. So yeah, it's been a while, but it's you get remotivated every spring once kind of, that sun comes out, and we're ready to roll.
It's all the fun of the triathlon without actually having to do the triathlon.
Right, yeah, yeah, fair
That's
enough. Yeah. I don't have to swim, I don't have to, yeah, and
You
people
get the
think I'm an
dopamine hit.
athlete.
Yeah.
You just assume I do them, so it's like, okay, great.
My goodness. Yeah, the energy in the swim corral, that is like nothing else like I've ever experienced. It
Yeah.
is a cool spot to be, man. It is a cool spot to be. Question for you. Any tips for the course in any of the segments? If people are listening to this, if it's the swim, anything
It's
like that?
like you said, it's hilly, right? So we're in the same
Yeah.
courses we have for the last couple of years. Yeah, be ready for hills.
Yeah.
Be ready for, swimming. If it's the first time swimming with your wetsuit, we do get a lot of athletes that swam in the pool forever, and then all of a sudden it's like they jump in the water, and it's first time in their wetsuit, or in open
Yeah.
water. Like you said, can't see the bottom. You're not seeing that black line along
Yep.
the pool, and that's different. So I
Yep.
would suggest, if you can swim in open water before you come, that's a big thing, because it's just, or swim with your wetsuit on, like that's a big game changer, right? A lot of times people will be like, I just borrowed my buddy's wetsuit and it's first time in it, and yeah, like I said, be ready for the hills and the experience,
Yep.
and be ready for lots of volunteers cheering you on along the way, and it's exciting. So just
Yeah.
embrace it. Just have a good day, right? I mean, it's
Yep.
anything can happen, even if it's not a personal best or whatever. You still did it, or you still got there, and you're still at the start line. You're amongst less than 1% of people that have ever even tried it. So, I mean, it's pretty
Mhm.
amazing you even got there, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, I remember doing like, just to go back to the sunrise swim, just learning how to navigate the current in the river, and there is a technique to that one. So if you get there and you're able to swim that before, it's helpful to understand how everything kinda shakes out and how to
Yeah,
make the
do
best
a
of it.
walkthrough. Do a walkthrough of transition is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Where knowing where your bike is, knowing where the change tent is, where the porta potties are. Maybe drive the bike course and just kind of scope out where the aid station might be. Just plan your day,
Yep.
and you'll have a great day, right? And just then execute your plan um, on race day, right?
Yeah, yeah. 2 more things I think I'll call out. First thing, if you're somebody that doesn't know how to fix a tire, now's the time to learn how to fix a tire
Correct. Yes.
because you're gonna be stuck if you don't have that. And then second, let a little air out of your tire most likely the day before when you drop off your bike, because I heard a
Yeah,
few
and
tires go
you can
pop.
we'll have pumps, we have bike tech in transition,
Yeah,
we have all that stuff, so yeah, don't yeah,
yeah,
we hear the odd pop, at
yeah,
around 5 p.m., especially if it's a hot day, right?
yeah,
So, on the Saturday, yeah, we'll have
yeah,
pumps, we'll have bike techs in there. We'll have bike
yep.
techs on course too, but, I mean, there's a lot of ground to cover, right? So, that's a
Oh,
good tip.
100%.
Good reminder of, yeah, try changing your tire.
Yeah,
Bring
exactly.
your tube, bring the CO2, be
Yep,
prepared,
be
so
prepared. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Nick. I really appreciate your time and really enjoyed the conversation. If folks wanna learn more about the events, how they can get in touch, the different stuff that you put on, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, your best bet is so like I said before, trisportcanada.com is our website for the Subaru Triathlon Series. So you can find a lot of info about our other races on there. Our Ironman Muskoka race is on the Ironman website. We also put on a women's triathlon series, which is women's triathlon festival.ca. And then we also put on the Niagara Falls Marathon, which is down our way, which is
Mhm.
late October. So if you're interested in finishing your season off with a half or a full, we also put that event on. Yeah, lots of options. Yeah, the Trisport website kind of links all of them together, and yeah, just and you can give us an email or you give us a phone call. We're always here ready.
Lovely. Okay, well, thanks, Nick. I really appreciate your time, man.
Thanks, Sean.
Alright, talk to you later. Bye.
Take care.